Life in a Papua New Guinea village may seem idyllic, and in many ways it is. Life moves with the seasons. Food comes from the sea or the garden, not from the supermarket. People know each other, and many families have lived in this village for generations. But for women here, life can be tough. Research shows that 2/3 of women in PNG have been the victims of domestic violence, and 1 in 2 have experienced forced sex. Lack of land rights and practices such as bride price and polygamy reinforce male control over women and force many into economic dependence. Here in Northern Province, a group of local advocates is standing up for gender equality. Begun by the Anglican Church of PNG, the group travels throughout the province, talking to communities about human rights and preventing violence against women.
Every time when I'm walking into the village, I see the husbands going against the wives, or either they get up and start beating the wives, which is not good. When I see them, I start dropping tears. When the children are there sitting down, watching the father and the mother fighting, when they grow up to be adults, they will switch their mind back to when they were small. Our parents, our father and mother has been doing this, so we have to follow what they've been doing. Of course, when they were children, they just sat there watching the father bashing the mother.
The group is based at Newton Theological College in Popondetta and is made up of volunteers from all walks of life.
The gender working group members they're all active members of the church, and so they all come together and they try to carry out activities to inform people about their gender equality and human rights and how the Bible deals with gender inequality.
I think by come up was in TikTok by Staba, long stop. So God himself was going to give you Mary come and said, so by you Hamas want to order stop food one time and partner going. So by you walk side by side, helping Mary now, Mary to help man by stop.
This week, the gender working group travelled to the village of Ambasi, a few hours west of Popondetta by dinghy. They talked with the community about human rights and preventing violence against women.
Women, we have every right, and women has to be protected. Women are protected by law. Ngana bebe tu, ane law mi ngana protect lagi. No atiri aku ngana bebe kata. Sorry, no can think was a me woklo lusintin la yupla mantu. All mantu got law is stop where woklo guiding you na, woklo protecting you na me.
The church should be doing this kind of work because the life of every individual is very important, and the people has to know who they are, and this type of problems that is coming, it's against the church law, like divorce and wife beating. It's against the law also, and it's against the church law also.
A lot of them were surprised. They did not know that they had rights, that they could change the situation. And there were a few young girls in the group who later on came quietly and they spoke to a few members of the group, and they were saying what we had anticipated, that a lot of young girls don't know that they can go far with their education. It's not that they finish primary school and then if a boy is interested in them, they can just get married and then that's what they do for the rest of their lives.
So I think the government is, if they know the law of violence against women and child abuse and all this, the government, especially the government, they should come out to the community and make an aware to the community, telling the people that wife beating is a crime, and they have to tell if they beat their wives, then there is a term of imprisonment. They don't have to sit in the office and say we have this position, but they must come out to the community. So what they learned and what they know, they must teach the community, especially people in the remote areas like Embassy.
I think a lot of times people forget the fact that, you know, when they're going out, they stand and they see a whole bunch of people, but they forget the fact that all these people have their own stories, and so it doesn't become valuable. It doesn't become personal. The people you're talking to have their own story, and we must respect their story, whether it's a good story or it's a bad story, it's a sad story. Whatever their story is, we must respect their story, and seeing them as another person with their own rights.
It's a must that I must do my very best to stop this violence in the community and in the family. So about after 10 to 20 years, there shouldn't be any violence in the community. Everybody must live a happy living in their own communities.
The reward comes in seeing change and knowing that they were part of creating that change and the process of change. And I saw that as being one of the highlights in the trip, because with the feedback we got from the community was overwhelming.